When I say who are we, you determine. Who are we?
The Medicaid Army!
Who are we?
The Medicaid Army!
Who are we?
The Medicaid Army!
All right, the federal government just cut Medicaid. It was the biggest cut in healthcare in this country's history. Every day, we are organizing across Maryland, and we come across people being denied essential medicines for cancer, for pain, for injuries, Alzheimer's, absolutely. We have people being discriminated against because they're senior citizens. People feel ignored. Veterans coming up to us on the street, asking for help, feeling hopeless. Absolutely. In this city of Cumberland, they have done made several policies in place that only make it a crime to be poor. They could be ending poverty in our state and in our country, and we've seen law after law passed to make homelessness a crime. They just passed a law in Cumberland to make it harder for there to be protests and public gatherings. Shame! 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 They're afraid of the people. They're afraid of real democracy that would mean health care for all. Am I right?
Yes! Yes!
Am I right?
Yes!
All right, well, today we have some brave souls from the Nonviolent Medicaid Army and United Workers who are going to be lending their voice and sharing their story and doing some, making the invisible visible. The media don't want to tell our story. They block it out. But we're going to tell our story today and to share across on live stream on Facebook. And like I said, we've got protests on Instagram as well and other places. So we're going to make sure that our voices are heard every day until we get health care for all, until we get food for everybody. No one in this country should go starving, not one day. Nobody should go without housing for one day. And no one should go without health care for one day, not once. Going to debt because they can't pay for their medicines. Crimes. These are crimes.
Or get barely enough to pay their bills with SSI, and then they cut the food stamp down to $50 a key by 2 million.
Absolutely.
That's not right.
40% of Marylanders don't make enough to make ends meet. That's 1 million residents in the state right now. 1 million. And it's growing. We're seeing the numbers go up.
And we see them. We see them, and we see people who are working 2 and 3 jobs who can't afford to get what they need. We see them every day here in Cumberland and in the outlying area. It isn't like we're making things up like some people think we are.
And the reason why we don't have CVS anymore right there on Baltimore Street is because they couldn't afford to rent on that privately owned property. That's the way that we can't smoke on, but our tax dollar to pay for them all, and that's what they take care of us.
That's right. So we're being drowned out. The affordability of housing is and even for businesses out here. But Connie's right. We're at food pantries every single week, every single month, and we're seeing people come up, workers, working 2 jobs, can't make it. People on fixed income struggling.
I'm really not following you around.
Yes, it's true.
And the part that we leave out here is the part where our children suffer things like WIC, right? Women and children, like pregnancies, like people do more damage by not being able to feed themselves while they're pregnant than they do to the baby by smoking a cigarette. You know what I mean? And we frown upon that. So why would you cut our food stamps that allows us to feed our children that are unborn without a voice and our stomach, and you just take, and we have nothing to give them. And then they come out here sickly and everything else, and then you deny their Medicaid issues and as they grow old. And that's unfair to all of us.
That's right.
Thank you so much for bringing that in, right? This is about kids. It's about every walk of life.
Right to life.
That's right. Everybody has a right to live. Okay, we're going to open up. Reverend Alexa's going to open us up with prayer, and then Elliot's going to share her testimony, followed by Melissa and Ginger. So we'll go from there. So, Reverend Alexa, thank you so much for coming today.
Let's pray together. Can you hear me?
Yes!
Gracious God, hold out to us again once
once again your vision of a world healed, where creation is cared for, where fear does not overwhelm, where justice just is, and love becomes the way of us all. Hold out to us again your vision of a world without greed, so a new open-heartedness may break open, where food is affordable, no longer controlled by corporations, where health care is not governed by insurance, but those who are called to heal, where medical treatment does not bankrupt, and where community triumphs finally over profit. Give us courage in all these places to speak truth and hope to keep speaking. Give us insight to help others be less afraid, so that our many voices may join together, and we and those we know and those we may never know may be transformed as your Spirit moves within us and in the world, and it becomes, as you imagined, a place where all is well. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Elliot, you want to come up?
Hi. Hi. Everybody has a right to live with dignity. The Constitution tells us that we have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The policies are put in place against people in poverty. Thank you. That make this impossible for the majority of the population in the United States. In the richest country in the history of the world, poverty is the fourth leading cause of death. We gather here today to say that we have a right to health care, food, housing, and a decent income. We have a right to health. The war on the poor did not begin with the current administration. 25 million people lost their health care because of Medicaid cuts after the COVID pandemic under the Biden administration. 1/4 of those people are still without coverage. However, the big beautiful bill that recently passed is only beautiful for billionaires. It has given rich people bigger tax breaks and taken money that was allocated for health care and food assistance and moved it to the Department of Homeland Security and Immigration Enforcement. The Maryland Food Bank estimates they will require an increase by 2.5 times to meet the hunger need after SNAP benefits are cut. While we are starving and trying to survive, immigration enforcement is terrorizing and kidnapping our class. The city of Cumberland itself has passed anti-homeless ordinances that forbid us from eating, sleeping, or storing our belongings in a vehicle parked on public property, as well as eating in public parks. 50% of Cumberland residents that are currently housed are at risk of homelessness because they pay more than 30% of their income on rent. One of our members turned 20 years old in jail because she's homeless and she fell asleep in a 24-hour laundromat. These policies don't make it more affordable to live in Cumberland or deal with the rising costs for groceries and health care. They pass these laws to terrorize us, to make it illegal to be homeless. They make it harder to survive. It's also an attempt to paint some of us as the bad guys, to pit us against each other. We do outreach from a food pantry at St. John's Church on the south side of Cumberland once a month. What we see is a lot of common struggles and empathy and people coming together with little resources to help each other out. We don't have much, but we organize and distribute food to our neighbors and loved ones. Everyone we meet there has a healthcare story. We also talk to members daily that are struggling to find food, keep their housing, see a doctor, afford childcare, and earn a living wage. We have members who need cancer screenings, but their insurance denied it. We have to travel to West Virginia or Baltimore for decent medical care because no one trusts UPMC. So many have told us they are part of the 40% of Marylanders who struggle every month to make ends meet. I am in that 40% too. I struggle every month to make ends meet to have enough to eat for me and my son. I work a service job earning just above minimum wage and I have to rely on the food pantry. My son has Down syndrome and an OB at UPMC, and she recommended that because I had a high-risk pregnancy that I deliver him at WVU Ruby Memorial because UPMC is not equipped. Every specialist he sees is in Morgantown because he has a right to decent medical care. I'm a recent homeowner in Cumberland, and my disabled son and I were approved for a measly $23 in food stamps. We only qualified at all because he has a disability. We technically have too much income, and I only make $1 over minimum wage. I join United Workers and the fight to end poverty for everyone everywhere because I have seen the injustices throughout my entire life, and now I'm experiencing them as a parent. I don't know anybody that has escaped poverty. The system is rigged against us, and we have to do something. We have to organize.
Yeah.
Woo! Now we're going to read the Nonviolent Medicaid Army statement that's right at the top of every one of these rallies. Who was first? Carrie?
Yeah. Today, September 6, 2025, we are taking action together as the National Nonviolent Medicaid Army in more than 12 states across the South, Midwest, Appalachia, and the Northeast to declare Medicaid cuts equal policy murder. We are exposing the violence of ongoing attacks on health care, the harm caused to our communities, and how we're coming together for support, survival, and strategy. Healthcare is a human right.
Yes. Woo! This crisis didn't start with this administration. 1/3 of our people don't have primary doctor. Nearly half of us delay or don't care because of cost. Our working and housing conditions, the industrial food we eat, and the contamination of our air, water are making us sick. Further Medicaid cuts will result in hospital closures, impacting both rural, suburban, and urban communities, while healthcare companies put profit before people's lives. Millions more losing their healthcare and hundreds of hospitals on the chopping block is a national emergency in the richest country in the history of the world.
People on Medicaid are not the cause of skyrocketing healthcare costs. Those who are making millions, billions off our sickness are the cause. Claiming that some of us deserve healthcare and others do not is an attempt to gaslight the American people. But we are not fooled. We are not wearing masks. We know and see the truth. We all have a body. We were all made in the image of God, and we all deserve care. There is more than enough for everyone to have health care in this nation. Today, September 6th, we honor the birthday and lifelong work of Detroit labor leader and movement ancestor.
Thank you!
General Gordon Baker Jr., who taught us to make thinkers out of fighters and fighters out of thinkers by continuing his work. We are building power and uniting across all lines of division, getting into step and asserting our political independence without masks. We won't be silent anymore. Who are we? The
Medicaid Army.
Who are we?
The Medicaid Army. Now we have a poem from one of our beloved leaders, Perry. You ready?
Actually, it was at the end of my testimony, and it was a bit. So how do I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, just do it.
Testimony and poetry.
All right. My name is Carrie Neal Harden, and I was born with a painful nerve disorder in my face called trigeminal neuralgia. People wouldn't believe me or my family that I was actually in debilitating pain that left me digging at my face. And it got me in the foster system, though I prefer to call it foster hell, for just over a year. Mom took me to so many doctors by the time I was 4 years old, and one only looked to see how thick my file was and wouldn't listen. Child Protective Services was called, and I was stolen from a loving mother. The assholes I was stuck with were so religious, they managed to brainwash me into believing I deserved every ounce of suffering I'd gone through. I was told that about halfway through the nightmare, I was finally diagnosed by a doctor in Pennsylvania, but I was in the middle of kindergarten, so I continued to be trapped. I guarantee this level of humiliation wouldn't have happened to us if we'd actually had any real money to speak of. But we were poor, and I was a disabled child that many people are still afraid to admit exists. I experienced some degree of isolation my entire childhood and even a fair bit of my adulthood. Being shunned and disbelieved about your own life experiences means going through life with almost no self-confidence. I used to think there wasn't anything we could do to change the inequality in the world, and I often found myself not wanting to wake up in the morning more often than I'd like to admit.
You got it, Carrie.
But I'm fighting now because I realize I'm not the only one suffering these indignities, even if my situation is unusual. When we come together and are united in our goals, we can actually change things. I couldn't fight for myself as a 4- and 5-year-old child wrongfully placed in the foster system, but Mom sure as fuck could and did. She never stopped fighting for me, even when she had to fight against me. She fought for something like 6 months after I moved back from Ohio to get me into therapy. And I wouldn't be here now without that. Her name is Jimmy Neal, and even though she died on July 27th of 2012, she continues to inspire everything I do. According to her, when she had her legs amputated, I was her reason for continuing to fight to live. I was her greatest pride, and of course she means everything to me. I don't know of a long-term job I could actually get today that wouldn't kill me in the process, or if anyone would even hire someone who looks like me, constantly struggling to get my face to heal properly. The pain either feels like a fire or electricity in my face and is often triggered by stress I can't avoid due to poverty. How am I supposed to work like that when sometimes the best I can do is force myself to completely freeze my body so I don't scratch again? It takes an absurd amount of focus just so I can shut the impulse down, and I don't always succeed. I've been denied Social Security repeatedly over the years. Mom tried to get it for me when I was a child and got told I'd never get my high school diploma if I got the benefits. Of course, that seems to be a blatant lie based on what other people I've talked with have said, and it's a despicable way to treat anyone. The right to health means no judgment on people, just trying to survive to the next day, and that our struggles aren't invalidated every step of the way. It means having access to resources we need without being grilled to the point of zero privacy just to prove we're suffering enough. It's way more than just going to see a doctor or a nurse or counselor. It's about the dignity of being believed. There are countless consequences to being born disabled, and it doesn't even have to be especially painful physically like it is for me. And it's about not having society crush you under the weight of its favorite tools of control. In my case, it was religion. Sometimes it feels amazing. I didn't entirely turn my back on the church, but that still has everything to do with my parents, and especially my mom. Sometimes the worst religious people around are the ones who claim to love God, to love Jesus so much and go to church day and night where they can get their ego stroked for being so pious. And sometimes the best people around believe in such a quiet way you don't realize it fuels their every action until much later. Mom had a much stronger faith than anyone else I've ever known. Through all of her own struggles, she still maintained a certain dignity and strength that couldn't be destroyed. It was also her faith in me as a person that kept me going when I struggled to see the light at the end of the tunnel. My dad and I both have some poetry that fits very well right now, and I'd like to read them both. The first is his, short and to the point. He wrote it in mid-April of 1972 when he was just 14 years old. I recently read my own poem to him, and he suggested that his poem would be a good prelude for mine. Although there's over 50 years between the two, they flow together perfectly. His is titled Stranger in the Dark. I be the stranger in the dark, welcomed by none, known to no one but God. I come and I go with the wind, only to disappear into the mists of night, only to reappear somewhere else. And my poem, which I wrote in December of 2023, is titled Lantern in the Dark. Lantern in the dark, pretty little flame. Do you know to me just what you are? You're the only light I've ever seen, the only hope there's something at all. Lantern in the dark, you are all I have. I was born in the shadows and raised in darkness. We hoped for better but received nothing. What dreams I had appear to all be dead. Lantern in the dark, my gentle little light, bringer of hope that better than this exists. You reignited those seemingly dead dreams, reborn from the ashes of their past selves. Lantern in the dark, the hope of dreams reborn. Wherever you came from must be better than this. You mean that someone knows I'm here and they care enough to send something nice.
Yeah.
Harry.
Woo!
Thank you, Carrie. Let's take a moment and appreciate our friend Carrie. That is not easy. Telling a painful story like that, it hurts. You live it all over again. Thank you very much.
Carrie.
That's what we're doing out here. We're making the invisible visible. We're not suffering alone. We're suffering together, and we can do something about it. Our next testimony is Melissa. Melissa Wertz. Sorry.
Mom needs a Band-Aid.
Got it.
First, I'm going to read a couple of poems, and then I'll tell my testimony. The first is titled Power to the Poor. Power to the poor. We need to band together. We need to fight for what is right. Power to the poor. Where is your power? We need to give voice to those who cannot speak for themselves. Power to the poor. Who do you fight for? Where will you fight the fight? Your fight. Power to the poor. How do we fight against those who do not listen? Fight, testify, organize. Power to the poor. We need to fight together. Coming together as one force will help our voices be heard. Power to the poor. Let's march together. Let's gather where they will see and hear what needs to be said. Power to the poor. For a country who likes to give to the poor, they sure don't seem to want to help their own country's poor. Power to the poor. Where will you be heard? Go to be heard. Where will you find help from? Power to the poor. Power to the poor. Power to the poor. Look and you will see. Listen and you will hear. Power to the poor. Can you hear? Can you see?
That's right.
One step back.
Cool.
The next one I wrote for my mom. It's titled, I Watched You. I watched you then, I watch you now. You struggled then to show me the way. You struggled then to help me find my way. I watched you then, I watch you now. It hurt you then to see me struggle. It hurt you then to know why I struggled. I watched you then, I watch you now. I watch in pain I couldn't explain. I watched in anger my words wouldn't unfold. I watched you then, I watch you now. Your hurt was in your eyes, watching my struggles. Your anger was in your eyes, knowing I struggled. I watched you then, I watch you now. It frustrated us both when the doctors made things worse. It frustrated us both when doctors didn't listen. I watched you then, I watch you now. I couldn't find my words to tell you I didn't understand. I couldn't see a way to tell you I felt lost and alone. I watched you then, I watch you now. You were always there when I needed an ear to hear. You were always there to guide me through the murky waters in my mind. I watched you then, I watch you now. I see your pride in me for finding my way. I know you're happy, I found my words. I watched you then, I watch you now. I see you struggle with more every day. I know you need us more than you want to. I watched you then, I watch you now. I see your frustration that you can't do what you're used to. I see your I see your anger when you can't do something you're used to, like you used to. I watch you then, I watch you now. You struggle now to do everyday things. You struggle now to find a way to get through the day. I watched you then, I watch you now. I watch in pain to know you need us more. I watched in anger to know we couldn't help you as much as we'd like. I watched you then, I watch you now. It hurts my heart to see you struggle with things you never did before. It hurts my heart to see you need help like never before. I watched you then, I watch you now. It pains me to see you struggle because of your health. As it pained you to see me struggle because of my mental health. I saw you then, I see you now. I couldn't thank you then for all you did. I can't thank you now for all you mean to me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now for my testimony. Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm a member of the United Workers and a part of our media team. I am 43 years old and have spent most of my life dealing with many medical conditions. I've been diagnosed with bipolar 1, ultra-rapid cycle, mixed state, separation anxiety, oppositional defiant disorder as a child, ADHD, migraines, fibromyalgia, trigeminal neuralgia, even arthritis. I've also been accident prone. I would bruise easily even as a child, and often have not known where said bruises came from. I struggled with depression and suicidal ideation. Doctors often did not listen to my mom and I when dealing with my medical or mental health needs. She was a single mother trying to take care of 2 children with special needs. They often labeled her as uncooperative or hostile when she would try to tell them which medicines I couldn't take, or if she needed to also attend to my brother. In 2017, I started having really painful back spasms that eventually caused me to lose the strength in my legs and back. I wound up in a wheelchair in 2020 or thereabouts. I struggled with added depression during this time because I have always been a very independent person and never liked being dependent on other people. Another thing my mom taught me. This last year has been a turning point for me, but it has also brought to light that my mom has been struggling in silence when she no longer needed to. While I fought to regain strength in both my legs and my back, my mom was struggling with losing her house, finding a place to live, finding a job, and paying all her medical bills. All while her heart was giving her problems and she was struggling to breathe enough to walk around the house. But all of this, from my story to hers, would have been less problematic if we had a medical system set up in a way that prioritizes health and well-being of people instead of profits.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Imagine growing up among the poor and working class with physical and mental health issues. I've been dealing with the physical and mental health issues I've been dealing with. And then you try to talk to the doctors about what you are experiencing because they are a part of and influenced by a system that just because we are not rich, we don't deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. My mom and I had to fight every step of the way, and that is not right. Everyone deserves the right to have their mental and physical health needs met. That's why we are here today, to tell our stories and shed light on the injustices of the system, to unite with one another around our common struggles and our right to health.
Yeah.
Power to the poor.
Awesome testimony. It's amazing. I definitely a real thread. I remember last year, and Ginger, you're coming up next. Ginger spoke to this last year. You got to fight every step of the way, especially when you're poor and working class. The medical profession tends not to believe us. Over and over again, the suffering that we've gone through, the lack of dignity and respect that we're being treated by the medical profession, by places like UPMC. And so, just want to take a minute to acknowledge that. All right, Ginger, you're up.
That was my daughter, Melissa. Yes, we fought the system. I don't know how many doctors I threatened to leave my daughter with them so they could witness what she was like growing up. She was a danger to my son on more than one occasion. And every time they put her on Ritalin, she was even more of a danger. So, anyway, I'm 67 years old. I worked as a construction inspector for 35 years. So technically we weren't poor at that time, but 8 years ago I got hurt and I couldn't work anymore. Between that and all my medical issues, I can no longer work. Though right now I'm looking for work, but nobody wants to hire me because I'm 67 years old. So,
Age discrimination.
yeah, it's, but it's a thing, you know. So,
Oh, you gotta keep
8 years
holding the
ago.
button. Oh, you gotta keep holding the button.
Oh, I do?
Yeah. No?
Oh,
Okay. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Can everybody hear me? I got a loud mouth, so I can yell. You can ask Melissa. At any rate, 8 years ago, I broke my left arm in 3 places. So I could no longer do my job because it was a lot of heavy lifting. It was a lot of walking. A year later, I broke my left leg
Come to find out, I have osteopenia and osteoporosis. Some joints are osteoporosis, some of them are osteopenia. So I can no longer walk on unlevel ground. And I get wobbly when I walk a long distance, like today. That's why I was sitting when I got here. I have bursitis in both hips, so that makes sitting on hard surfaces really bad. At any rate, between that and all my medical issues, I went on disability. Now, I worked for it, and I make good money, but it's not enough. Right now, it barely covers my living expenses. It does not cover food. So, I'm one of those that gets $23 a month in food stamps.
Shame.
Shame.
So, $23 does not make even a week's worth of groceries. You know, if it weren't for the food bank, I wouldn't have fresh fruits and vegetables. I would not. So, twice this year, I almost became homeless. First was the beginning of this year when I lost my house to foreclosure. I moved up here in 2006 when I bought a house. I moved from Baltimore. Because I love this area. It's nice. It's a slower pace. I was away from the rat race. I didn't have to deal with traffic anymore. Oh, yeah. I was a construction inspector. I built roads and bridges. So I was in heavy traffic all the time. So when I moved up here, I got away from that. And I like the slower pace. It's peaceful to me. So, you know what? All these cuts to everything, whether it be homelessness, the medical assistance, which I make too much money to get medical assistance, but, you know, oh well. Thank God for the hospital, they have financial aid. That covers all my copays, which are high on Medicare. I had one test that I was supposed to go for a few years ago at ADR, and the copay was almost $500. I'm like, I don't have that kind of money. So I went through the hospital because I had financial aid there, and it didn't cost me anything. All my specialists, and I see about 6 or 8 of them, cost me $45 a piece. Financial aid covers that through the hospital. I have to get blood tests every 3 months or less. Depends upon which specialist I have to see at the time. Those cost money too. I usually get billed about $30 a piece for the blood work. I get tests every now and then. I just recently had a lung scan. They added a new diagnosis. Wonderful. So, yeah, the Medicare, Medicaid cuts are affecting all of us.
That's right.
And I moved into the first available HUD apartment I could find. So I'm living down in Westernport, but all my doctors are up here in Cumberland. But I don't have the gas to go back and forth. So, guess what? Something gets cut. I put 1 tank of gas in the car a month. That's it. That's all I have the money for. You know, and that's $50 basically. So, that's my story. It covers everything. Medical assistance, Medicare, homelessness, food stamps, all of those cuts. They hurt all of us. I worked 35 years to be treated like a piece of shit.
Shame.
Shame.
Who are we?
The Medicaid
Army.
Who are we?
The
Medicaid Army.
We live in a country that is treating our seniors, like Ginger just said, like shit, right? And we're tired and sick of it. We're sick and tired of it. And we're not going to take it. We're going to get organized. We're going to organize, and we're going to organize, because this country, we deserve a lot better. We deserve our health care. We deserve our housing. And we deserve food. Every single week, we see people come into the pantry, come to United Workers, and share their story. And many people like Ginger, who are on the edge of homelessness from week to week, who at the end of the month have nothing, have no food, put all their money towards rent, and they don't have any way to eat. There's no way to live, and it's causing a great health crisis in this country. Poverty is the 4th leading cause of death in America today. And we don't see a politician talking about that, not at the local level, not here in Cumberland, not at the state level, with our state legislators and our governor, and certainly not in the White House. All right, next up is Michael. Is going to share his story. So give him a round of applause. Give him some love.
Hello, my name is Michael. I came to Cumberland roughly 30 years ago, homeless, and I started my own business here in Cumberland because there was no work to be found in Cumberland. I had 2 children, and my youngest at the time had to work at 14 years old just to help her parents pay the bills. Just to help her parents keep food in the house. I've never gotten enough food stamps for the full month. I always have to hit the pantry. Even now, when I'm on my own and my kids are out on their own, I still have to hit the pantry every single month. I tell social services, why do you give me enough food stamps for 3 months? For 3 weeks of the month only. And then they give you a hard way to go to send you to the pantry. So the vegetables that I get from from United Workers really helps me, and it really helps me a lot. But I tell you, I've been here 30 years in this town, and there's no work in this town. I had to start my own business, my window cleaning service. I started that 30 years ago. And I had my car detailing business, and I had my painting business. Every time I started to work for myself in this town, every corner I turned, there was someone telling me, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. It's like they don't want you to work, but they don't want to give you anything either. Roughly a year and a half ago, I had neck surgery in Morgantown and couldn't walk after. I walked in the hospital walking with a cane and couldn't walk out. So that's why I'm in this wheelchair now as we speak. I thank God, I thank my God that I do get up daily and I walk with my walker in my apartment. So United Workers is something that I believe and I trust in. That that we're going to open up doors for those that really need you. Really need you. So I just give you all the praise, for helping the poor. Because all of us are poor out here. All of us.
That's right.
All of us are one check away from being homeless. And everybody should know that. At least I do know that. If I didn't have Cumberland housing now, I would be homeless. I would not be able to afford it. Just renting one room in this place is $500 just to rent a room. That has nothing to do with your food. It's nothing to do with your electric, washing your clothes or anything. That's just your rent here in Cumberland. $500 just for a room. So if I didn't have Cumberland housing, I wouldn't be able to make it on what I get. It took me 8 years to get my disability. And I never graduated from school. My reading and writing isn't that well, so I couldn't get an actual good job. My hands is the only reason why I've ever made $1, is to work hard with my hands. Other than that, up here, don't get me wrong, I got more common sense than the smartest man out there. But I could never get a really good job because of my education. I'm looking to go back to school to get my GED and, get things like that to go forward to as well so I can do better. But there's a lot of homeless people out here in Cumberland, and I help them as much as I can. Right now as I speak, I let homeless come to my house, take a shower, get something to eat, whatever they may need. I try to help out the best I can. I've been blessed to have a place. I was homeless here in Cumberland 2.5 years, sleeping on the street, sleeping on this sidewalk that we're standing on. I used to sleep right over there in that building. 2.5 years until the police ran me off and wanted to arrest me for being homeless.
Shame!
But my God made a way, for me to make it and get my place here in Cumberland. So I thank God for that. Anyway, through prayer, all is well and all will become to pass. So there's always a good thing through prayer. Everybody needs to pray. As long as you pray and continue to pray, all will be well. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your testimony today. We're an affiliate of the National Union of the Homeless. We have a slogan that we are all one paycheck away from homelessness. Michael raised that today. One healthcare crisis away from homelessness.
You only get what you're organized to take.
That's right. You only get what you're organized to take, and that's why we're organizing all across Maryland, all across the country, because we got to fight back and we got to get organized. All right, next up, we've got 2 firecrackers about to lit up the stage. First up is Melissa Peterson. She's one of our outreach leads in training. She is a kick-ass organizer. She is a whirlwind. Coming back to us from West Virginia. Where is Melissa?
Right here.
Right here. Okay, good. Come up.
With Z.
With Z.
Hey.
Bring it.
All right. How are y'all doing? My name is Melissa. This here is my grandson Z. And so, okay, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. 7 years ago, I moved here from Cumberland County, New Jersey, to Cumberland, Maryland, into a program I'm not sure if anyone has heard of, City Reach Women's Discipleship Program through City Reach over by Fort Hill. Okay, I graduated that program. God told me to stay here. Within the 7 years, I have brought family members here, non-family members here, trying to get a fresh start. Okay, has it been easy? No. It's been a struggle, to say the very least. By the time you pay your bills, you have no money left over. I literally had to take myself out of Cumberland most recently to Kaiser, West Virginia, because I had my daughter struggling in New Jersey. I had a son struggling in Maryland. So God made a way to bring us together for such a time. And something most recently came to play to where now we're back in Cumberland. And yeah, God's got a funny sense of humor, to say the very least. But you know, I've gone from Jersey to Cumberland to Howard County. I don't know if you know anything about Howard County, but that's 3 times as expensive as it is to live here. I mean, me and my now ex-boyfriend was paying $469 a week for a hotel, both working, and by the time we paid everything, we had no money left over. And I met United Workers at Souls One's outreach one day when they were doing an art build for the Potter's Field event. So it just so happened that one day I swallowed my pride, hungry and tired and sick and distraught. And I reached out to United Workers asking for help, and they fed me, and they came and encouraged and spoke life into me, and lifted me up, So they're like a family to me. This is long-awaited, time together. But it's been a struggle, I've been struggling myself to make ends meet. I literally told my boss this week at Kaiser McDonald's, hey, I just gained my grandson. What a blessing. I'm going to need to adjust my hours. And I get told, well, I'm sorry about your luck. You ain't been here, you haven't been here long enough for me to be able to follow that procedure. Okay, well, I reckon I'm going to give you my notice then because my family comes first. That's it. That's all, and yeah.
That's what pro-life looks like.
Yeah. We our family doesn't always, family's not always blood. Like literally family's not always blood. Look around. We're all brothers and sisters. And everybody's going through something. And we are conquerors and we are overcomers. And there is hope no matter what it looks like. Because it's a matter of perspective. Are we going to look for the positive in things or are we going to look for the negative in things? And we have a voice and our voice matters. And, speak life or speak less. And do you want to say anything, Ezekiel? Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us all.
Awesome. Give it up for Melissa.
Woo!
Every day's a struggle. We're trying to find a decent job. We're working 2 jobs to get by. We might be living in Cumberland 1 week, have to find a place to live. Ginger had to move to Westerport to find a place to live. Affordable housing is a struggle everywhere. Everywhere. A decent job is a struggle everywhere. We looked at the Alice report from United Way. 40% of Marylanders don't make ends meet. We looked at the jobs that don't pay enough just to meet your rent. That's the McDonald's jobs. That's the Walmart jobs. That's the healthcare jobs. No one should have to live like this. They say, go get a job. We got jobs. We got plenty of jobs. Many of us are working right now, and we can't afford it. It's a crime. It's a crime the way we're living in this country. Next up is another fight. We got some great people coming up. Pam is going to lead the charge, talk about what it's like to live without Medicaid and the struggle that she's going under right now. And then we'll pass it on to Amy after that. All right, come on.
That's good. I don't do this, so.
Take your time.
I'm not good at this, anybody. But my disability started 50 years ago.
In the mic, babe.
I fell 10 feet to a floor. Half of my body landed on a wooden skid, the other half didn't, so my spine went into an S shape. Sorry. It got so bad in the physical therapy, I wore plaster body cast, any kind of body cast for years. For decades, doctors didn't know what to do with me. Then in 2019,
Eat it.
in 2019, I got a back surgery over 8 hours with 2 steel rods and 30 screws in my spine. They didn't tell you when that happens that the screws will come out of place and the rods will get broke and you're just up that quick. Sorry. But this has been going on for over 50 years. I still work 3 jobs. I had 2 kids to support. I'm not doing all of this. I'm only doing part of this. I don't do like this. But I'm sorry. In January, they stopped my Medicaid, which makes my Medicare was $185, $45 for every doctor, $60 for my pills. I can't afford to do it. I can't afford to go to any of the doctors. So I don't.
Joe Great.
I just don't know how to do this.
Nobody does.
Huh?
Nobody does, honey.
It's like you're talking to your bestest friend.
You're doing great. Why
You're doing good.
You're doing great.
So because a doctor messed up my spine, I have been to West Virginia, Morgantown, Baltimore, every hospital, everywhere. No doctor will touch me because of another doctor's mess up. They're letting me live like this. I can't move my spine. If sometimes the screws will click and bang together, you hear it, you feel it, because the screws wiggle loose. And the more you walk, the more they wiggle. But I've fallen twice, and they stabbed me in the back, some of the screws, and there's just nothing can be done for it. So, and because of Medicaid, I can't get a scooter or get the scooter fixed. They've just cut everything off for me. I don't have nothing else no more. Nothing, I'm sorry. And I already made arrangements to be buried in Pottersfield because I can't afford nothing else.
Shane!
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Pam's just a couple dollars short to get Medicaid.
Oh, $13.
$13 short.
Too much. And they cut Medicaid.
And they cut her off. We're going to fight to get her back on Medicaid. We're going to fight to get her back on Medicaid this week. This week. She can't afford the meds. Constant pain. There's no way to live in this country. No way to live.
I'm sorry.
No, you did great. Give it up for Pam again. Come on, y'all.
Power to the poor!
Power to the poor!
Mike said something really important. Pam said, I don't know how to do this. And Mike said, no one does.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. We're all making a way where there's no way. Harriet Tubman, the symbol on our shirt, the United Workers, she made a way where there was no way. Yeah. People said, we got to turn back. It's too hard. And she said, no, the way to freedom is forward. And that's how we're going to be. We're going to fight for our freedom from poverty every day. It might be confusing. There's going to be setbacks. We know there's going to be setbacks. We see it every day. But we're going to keep on fighting. And one of the best fighters we've got in United Workers is Amy. She's going to come up and give a great speech. Go ahead, rip it.
Unify!
Yeah!
Everybody.
Unify!
And awesome job, people. Everyone that spoke today, awesome. I'm here today to say we the people are pissed off and we're not going to take it anymore. Cuts to Medicaid and food stamps. Cuts to Medicaid and food stamps, and these cuts and the conditions we are living in, deepening poverty. It's a death sentence, a violation of our constitutional rights to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Poverty and homelessness is treated like a crime. People in Cumberland are being locked up for being homeless, and they are trying to take away our constitutional right to speak up and assemble with this new ordinance that was just recently passed. Now, there's a lot of stories out here about Medicaid, how important it is, and what poverty has done. Poverty is a death sentence. Homelessness, hunger is a death sentence. Much like a couple of our speakers here that have been disabled, they worked their whole entire life. My mom worked for many, many years. She was a CNA. And due to lifting, quite often, as many of you know who have been CNAs, have worked in the medical field, they are very short-handed and overworked. And she got a hernia. She had a hernia repaired, and then her doctors released her back to work too soon. The hernia reopened, the mesh they used shifted. She had a second surgery in the same spot. Originally they thought it was a second hernia, but once they got in there and got to actually looking, it was the same hernia, just reopened because of the mesh shifting. What they thought was the second hernia was where the mesh had balled up, another part of her stomach. The surgeon screwed her up really bad. She ended up having a third hernia surgery. No surgeon in West Virginia would touch her. She had to go, it was either go to North Carolina
Cleveland Clinic, or California. We ended up going to Cleveland Clinic, and she had a third surgery. That third surgery permanently disabled her. She has lifting restrictions. She has a lot of restrictions of things that she can't do anymore. And if it wouldn't have been for insurance, Medicaid, where would she be? These cuts to Medicaid, to SNAP, to Social Security is killing people. And it's going to continue killing people until we organize and we stand together and say enough is enough. We're not going to take this shit anymore.
That's right.
The system we are up against doesn't care whether we live or die. It is broken. It's not broken. It's designed to keep us down. The cuts will cause people to die. The government knows this, and the Congress and the President pass these laws that will kill us. They would rather pass tax cuts to the rich than to end poverty. There used to be a time when there wasn't tax cuts for the rich, for big business. And people like us had more money in our pockets. It was easier to afford a home, to afford higher education for our children, to afford health benefits for our families. People could live. There was definitely cuts in classes. There was a line that said this is poverty, this is middle class, and this is upper class. Now, you're either one or the other. You're the rich or you're poor. And the rich want us to make us think that we are broken, that we are criminals, and that we are undeserving of anything. And now they're trying to take away our voices. What's it going to take for us to end this now?
Organize. That's right. Organize. 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 Organize.
Together.
Not one step back.
Power to the poor.
Power to the poor.
We are here to say no cuts and to take our constitutional rights. Poverty and homelessness is not a crime. Speaking out is not a crime. Homelessness and hunger is a dozens. Time to say no more!
No more!
Now, I have many stories, and some have heard it. My family has been wrought with mental health, which is not a crime. Addiction, which is a health issue, not a crime.
That's right.
My father died in prison, a prison that he was put in. Yes, he done the crime, and he was doing the time. But he was not getting the Medicare that he needed. He died possibly of a heart attack or pneumonia. We're not sure exactly what. Family didn't find out for 5 months after the fact. My brother, for a long period of time, with his wife, who is disabled, has a lot of health issues, lived underneath someone's house in a dugout basement. Barely enough room to turn around. They made it a home until it flooded out while she was in the hospital, fighting for her life. And my brother couldn't be there with her. They were homeless. Someone let them live in this little dugout area. I mean, it was like dirt walls. Their ceiling was the floor of the house above them. They had an area cut out for their bed, a little bit of place to sit, a path that walked back to a second room. But they made that a home because they had no other choice. I have an uncle that worked in New York. He didn't work on roads and bridges, but he was a building instructor. He worked his way up from the bottom as a laborer all the way up to where he inspected the buildings in New York. He had nice savings. He had to sell everything he had while he was fighting cancer. And he beat cancer. But he had to go to work too soon. The very day he went back to work, he was driving home, stopped by a buddy's house for a few minutes for a visit to relax. His buddy heard a horn. Went out to see what was going on. Here he was slumped over. His steering wheel, dead from a heart attack. Because his body was so weak from fighting the cancer. But in the system that doesn't care, he died. This system doesn't care. We got to take back the power that we deserve. We are the people. The system is supposed to be by the people, for the people. But we've lost that. Now it's time to fight like hell to take that rights back.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. Awesome. Thank you so much. That's right. We got to fight like hell to take this system back, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Who are we?
Army.
Who are we?
Medicaid Army.
All right, we're going to close out the live stream. Ginger's going to lead us in a chant. And then we're going to march back to the Community Café. So hold on, here's Ginger. Wrap it up.
Forward together.
Not one step back.